Hey there, I was sitting here editing some senior pictures that I took, and I thought this would make a great tutorial on how to blur your background to make a really nice backdrop. So I wish I would have taken an iPhone photo and I didn't. So this isn't 100% how it looked, just kind of to the natural eye. But you can see that we've got a tree here in the background that has lots of different colors. And what caught my eye about this tree, we were walking down the road and I saw this tree and I saw that it had all these different colors. And more specifically, I saw that the tree had the exact color of her shirt. So it was just on an old deserted parking lot. The tree itself was not that pretty. But the colors I knew would go really, really well together. And so I specifically said, let's walk down to this tree. I promise you it won't look like you're just standing in front of a tree. And what I did was I used my longest lens. So my vision was that all these colors would blend together and create a really, really pretty background. So this is what it looks like, and I wanted to let you know how I did it. So you can see over here on my camera settings that I'm using my 70 to 200 f2.8 and I'm shooting at f2.8. So I'm shooting wide open at my lowest aperture, which gives me the blurriest background. It was starting to get dark, so my ISO is at 1000 and my shutter is at 1/200th of a second. Because basically at 200 millimeters, you need 1/200th of a second or you might get handshake. So with longer lenses, if you've ever looked through a binocular and it shakes around and you can't really see what you're doing, that's similar to a long lens. You have to get at least the same number as the length of your lens in order not to get handshake. So you can see I'm at 1/200th of a second. And what I did was I had her stand about 10 feet away from the tree. So if we go back to this picture where she was just kind of goofing around, you can see that there's a pretty big distance between her and the tree. So I said stand about 10 feet in front of the tree, and then I stepped back. So I'm fairly far away from her, but I zoomed all the way in. So I went all the way to 200, and what that does is two things. One, it makes the background appear closer to your subject. It compresses it. So not only does it pull her closer to you, it pulls the background closer to your subject. So it smushes everything together, which makes it look really, really cool. The other thing that it does is, so the further your subject is away from the background and the closer you are to the subject, the more blur you're going to get in the background. So you can see the leaves have kind of gone from individual leaves. This is out at 70, so I'm backed out. The iPhone would have been much, much more clear that this was a tree. You would have seen every individual leaf very in focus. But here you can see those individual leaves have just sort of melded together, and the tones of the photos, the rust color looks great with her shirt. The browns look great with her eyes. So that's another thing I did, was I really paid attention to the colors on the shoot. So she had a couple different outfits, and I paid attention to the background colors for all of her outfits to make sure that the tones really went well together. Now the next thing I did in the next photo is I physically walked closer to her. So you can see that my shutter speed did change, but my 200 mil, I didn't do anything with my lens. It's still at 200. I'm still at f2.8. I'm still at ISO 1000. So I physically walked closer to her. I don't know if you can, no, you can't see me. I physically walked closer to her, and what that does is it blurs the background even further. So if I compare these two, nothing changed with the lens, but you can see that the closer I get to my subject, the more blurry the background gets. So I didn't change anything but walk closer. She didn't get closer or further from the background. She's in the exact same spot. So that's a quick tutorial on how to use what looks like might be an ugly background and using that to create a really beautiful blurred background that just melts the colors together and matches the tones of the clothing in your photo. So let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, and share with me if you try out this technique. Thanks.